Give you guys assignments. A lot of you guys have talked.
It's another day at the office for the men and women of the California State Athletic Commission. Except their office today is a steel cage, 36 feet in diameter. It's fight night at the Forum in Los Angeles. Bellator 214.
Everything is our responsibility. We're state inspectors. Working together like a team is how we make sure things don't, drop through the cracks.
The California State Athletic Commission has a challenge. Their work is to keep fighters safe in a bloody sport in front of a crowd that celebrates the brutality.
Turn, fist.
I mean, they're putting their money down to witness the unique drama of high-level athletes in a very, very honest sport that is stripped down. The doors close, the bell rings. I mean, that's fascinating, and that has always fascinated humankind.
In an unkind arena, there is a benevolent eye keeping watch. Andy Foster is executive director of the California State Athletic Commission, and once upon a time, a mixed martial arts combatant himself.
We gotta have people that are on point, that are paying attention, that are putting fighter safety number one.
Foster and the commission are doing just that. He's known for both the southern drawl he brought to California from his native Georgia, and for being a champion of the idea that keeping fighters safe has to start long before the stage lights ever come up.
We're always trying to figure out ways to make improvements.
2.
Put your hands on your hips and close your eyes. Lift your...
Concussion testing is a key initiative for the commission, but simply testing a fighter after they leave the ring isn't enough. A baseline for their balance and reaction time has to be recorded first, so that a fighter's team can compare the results. It's the best technology to tell whether a fighter has gotten a concussion and later when that fighter might be ready to get back in the ring. For 2 years, the California State Athletic Commission has been working to get fighters those baselines.
This is what I push for the Fighters Union. There needs to be more tests.
Antonio McKee is a former fighter, a trainer, and an advocate for mixed martial artists. For him, it's personal. Not only has fighting been his life, he's now training his own son, AJ. So McKee knows well how hard it is as a young fighter to acknowledge physical limits.
Because they're warriors. They want to go out on the sword, you know what I mean? So that part, but they don't see when they're 50 and 60 years old, the shaking and the problems that come behind it.
So focused on the match in front of them, on getting the win, or better yet, the knockout, protecting them from themselves can be a struggle, especially those fighters who see it as a choice between their health and a paycheck.
If you don't get your win, it's essentially half a paycheck that you're losing. So you want to make sure that they're being officiated correctly, judged correctly, that everything is done right so these guys have a fair shake.
The weight class system to match fighters is all about pursuing that fairness. But it's also a system that some fighters try to manipulate, putting their own health at peril.
For example, we have an athlete right now who I can tell you is probably going to be moved up. He was 136 and change yesterday at the weigh-in. He's 157 pounds right now.
It's called weight cutting, forced dehydration, sometimes in the extreme. The fighter will make it into a lower weight class where they have an advantage by shedding water up until weigh-in. Then, the night before the fight, they put it back on. The concern there for their health or the concern there for the competitor?
Both. Both.
For Foster, cutting weight isn't simply a concern, it's a crusade. Habitual and extreme weight cutters in any combat sport in California can expect to face restrictions on their weight class for future fights. It will also impact their purses. What's more, thanks to an agreement forged by Foster with commissions around the country, any boxer caught cutting weight can now see their national rank drop.
I've worked in most states, and I've worked in with regulatory bodies all around the world, but I'm not going to feed you a line, and anybody that understands this industry recognizes that CSAC rocks. I mean, they really do an excellent job.
And they do that job so the men and women who swallow hard, gird their courage, and walk into this cage under the bright lights can do their jobs. To strive, to compete, to entertain.
To me, it's the greatest sport on earth, man. I mean, what these men and women do to get in there, the sacrifice they make, I think they're the most incredible human beings and the most incredible athletes. But you got to look out for their safety. You got to take care of them.